Mic check, mic check. Mic check, mic check. All right, let's get started here. Let me crack one of these beers. What is wrong with my cameras? It's complete shit, isn't it? All right, so Jussie Smolet, as Dave Chappelle would call him, finally is going to jail. I watched a little bit of this earlier today, and his brother came on and said that he was innocent and that everything that was happening to him was stupid. Mike, hold on a second. I guess podcasting wasn't really meant to lay back, was it? But anyways, Jussie Smollet's brother came on. Basically said what was happening to him was racist at heart. So you know how everything is now racist? But Jussie Smolet cries as his family asks judge not to jail him. I'd almost rather call him Jussie Smolet. It's got a better ring to it. So let's read some of this. Jussie Smolet cried out in court as his family begged a judge not to jail him, claiming that the world is going through enough with the war in Ukraine and COVID, but says it's not his fault. What do you mean? Did anyone... Well, we could remember what happened, right? He hired two Nigerians to beat the hell out of him and throw bleach on him and... say that they're in MAGA country. Remember MAGA country? Well, it's definitely MAGA country, but fuck, not in Chicago. Not in Chicago. The judge sentencing him. Hate crime hoaxer Jussie Smolet is absolutely flaming him right now. Just glorious. Let's take a look.
I know that Jussie Smolet grew up knowing to be sensitive to matters about racial discrimination, any kind of discrimination, any kind of social injustice. And as a matter of fact, I'm learning more about it as we're going on. In the letters I've been receiving, in the testimony I've heard today, he's been doing this all his life. He doesn't just talk the talk, he's walking the walk. He's out there, he's advocating, he's involved in the community. He cares deeply about social justice issues. And for you now to sit here convicted of hoaxing hate crimes, racial hate crimes, homophobic hate crimes, the hypocrisy is just astounding. Don't know where to begin. I'll remember one thing that will always stick in my mind, and I've been involved in so many trials over the
look
years,
good
but something
kill,
happened in
look
this
how
trial
mad he
that,
is.
that
He's
it was
like,
remarkable, and it talks about your sensitivity to issues of social justice. You're on the witness stand. You're being cross-examined. Your liberty is at stake. It is your criminal trial. Mr. Webb is winding through some things on cross-examination, and he's going through some social media communications, and whether it was Instagram or chat or text, a little quibbling about that, that doesn't matter. But Mr. Webb found a line that he wanted to confront you with, and he said, "Didn't you say," and he used a word starting with the letter N, "meet me at this place at this time," and I'm paraphrasing. And rather than just answer the question, which is what a witness is supposed to do and expected to do in their criminal trial, you stopped the proceedings. You said, "Mr. Webb, out of respect for all the African American people in this courtroom, you should not be using that word." And I was amazed. But it showed, and I'm not talking about the parrying and the gamesmanship that may go on between a prosecutor and a witness on the stand. That's not why I'm telling this, recalling this event. But what I'm talking about is how sensitive you were to any kind of slight. That anybody, if the wrong words come out of somebody else's mouth, you're going to get up and speak up and complain about it. And make sure that they know that they're not behaving the way you're supposed to behave. So you know better than anybody else that these are serious matters. They're serious to you. They're clearly serious to you and as your whole family. And for you to be here now, convicted of these hate crimes, it's just astonishing. Faking hate crimes. So why did this happen? That's a good question. I think that's the question on everybody's mind. There's some conjecture you did it for the money. Frankly, I do not believe that you did it for the money. You were making, the evidence showed, close to $2 million a year when this happened. I don't think money motivated you at all. But the only thing I can find is that you really craved the attention, and you wanted to get the attention, and you were so invested in issues of social justice, and you knew that this was a sore spot for everybody in this country. You knew this was a country that was slowly trying to heal past injustices and current injustices and trying to make a better future for each other. And it was a hard road. And you took some scabs off some healing wounds and you ripped them apart for one reason. You wanted to make yourself more famous. And for a while it worked. Everybody was talking about you. The lights are on you. You were actually throwing a national pity party for yourself. And why would you do such a thing? Why would you, I understand, you crave the attention so much, but why would you betray something like social justice issues, which you care so much about? And the only thing I could conclude is that, and I acknowledge, there are wonderful sides to you. They're very giving and charitable and loving sides to you. But you have another side of you that is profoundly arrogant and selfish and narcissistic. That's the only thing that can be concluded. And that bad side of you came out during the course of all these events.
Yeah, typical leftist psychopath. They act like they're doing something right, but they're usually huge fucking hypocrites.
I'm sentencing you to 30 months felony probation, and the probation is going to be to this court.
What is it?
You're going to be... I'm sentencing you to 30 months felony probation, and the probation is going to be to this court. You're going to be allowed to travel wherever you want. You do not have to live in the state of Illinois. You can report by phone. I know that if you're going to try to make a living and do some of the things you do, you may have to go to other places in New York and Los Angeles. You can do those things. You will pay restitution to the city of Chicago in the amount of $120,106. You are fined $25,000, which is the maximum fine. And you will spend the first 150 days of your sentence in the Cook County Jail. And that will start today, right here, right now.
Ooh. Looks good on you. And then, funny thing is, who would even stand up against this? Like, there's overwhelming evidence the fucking guys that attacked were blacker than him.
I'm fashioning the following sentence, and here's your sentence. I'm sentencing you to 30 months felony probation, and the probation is going to be to this court. You're going to be allowed to travel wherever you want. You do not have to live in the state of Illinois. You can report by phone. I know that if you're going to try to make a living and do some of the things you do, you may have to go to other the places in New York and Los Angeles, you can do those things. You will pay restitution to the city of Chicago in the amount of $120,106. You in the Cook County Jail. Though the jury found you guilty and I've sentenced you as I have, you have the right to appeal the findings and rulings of the court or ask your sentence to be modified. To do those things, you need to file a notice of appeal in writing within 30 days. You may also file a motion to modify your sentence, which would have to be filed in writing within 30 days. Anything not stated in those filings are waived for purposes of appeal. You cannot afford lawyers or transcripts. They would be provided free of charge. Do you have any questions?
No, I would just like to say to Your Honor that I am not suicidal. That's what I was about to say.
Okay.
I am not suicidal.
Okay.
I am not suicidal. I am
You're
innocent,
not?
and I am not suicidal. If I did this, then it means that I stuck my fist in the fears of black Americans in this country for over 400 years and the fears of the LGBTQ community. Your Honor, I respect you and I respect the jury, but I did not do this. And I am not suicidal. And if anything happens to me when I go in there, I did not do it to myself.
Ooh. So, Smolet in court awaiting sentencing for lying to police by claiming he was attacked by 2 white Trump supporters. What's with all these fucking black race hoax bullshit, guys? They're just clout chasing, I guess. The actor faces 3 years behind bars, but obviously we heard he only has to do 100 days, looks like. On 5 Class 4 felony counts of disorderly conduct. He was convicted in December. On Thursday, he showed up with a large entourage of family members 10 minutes after a sentencing hearing was due to begin. His attorney made an 11th hour appeal to the judge to have his conviction thrown out, arguing that Smolet did not get a fair trial because the intense media coverage. What do you mean? The media coverage is basically pro-black and anti-white, as far as I could tell. Unless he done something really fucked up and unforgivable, that's about the only way the media is going to come against you. Unless you're white, of course. But their motion was dismissed by a frustrated Judge James Lynn, who said there was nothing unconstitutional about Smolet's trial. Among those who spoke in his defense on Thursday was his oldest brother Joel, who fumed at prosecutors, lectured the judge on racism. Everything is racist. Everything is racist, and refused to take witness stand to speak, instead standing at a podium. Yeah, just yell at people. That'll help. Just yell at everybody. You know? Do a quick yell like a simp. He said his brother's trial was the reincarnation of Al Capone's trial. Yeah, right. Smolet's 92-year-old grandmother, Molly, turned to the journalists in the courtroom as she took to the stand and admonished them for not doing enough investigative work. The guy did it to himself. What more you want? Like, I know they're his family. I guess they're going to stick up for him no matter what. However, I'm not convinced my parents would if I did some fuck shit like that. Got to do better. I challenge you to do more. I went through McCarthy period, she said. Journalists in the courtroom, as she took to the stand and admonished them for not doing enough investigative work. The guy did it to himself. What more you want? Like, I know they're his family. I guess they're going to stick up for him no matter what. We've been talking about this for 2 years now. I do believe at the end of the day, Mr. Smolet received a fair trial and was proven guilty beyond reasonable doubt by the jury, he said. So obviously they're going to bitch and complain. Racist. Let's see some dummy protesters here. Hold on. Where'd they go? What's this?
Bring it. Play your way online with Proline Plus and in-store with Proline.
I'm sentencing you to 30 provided for your charge.
Jail time. I am not suicidal.
Okay. Mr. Uche is at great length.
Yes, Judge. We
Can we appeal?
Judge, as of now, yes.
Well, you have to commit to
Yes,
handling
Judge.
the appeal
Yes,
to the
yes,
appellate
we're
court.
found the notice.
Fuck, it looks good on you.
Notice of appeal may be filed.
Let this be a lesson
And now
to
I
those
need the
race
prosecutors
hoax and
to work with
fucking
Charlotte, the
idiots.
probation officer, to work out probation specifications with the conditions I just explained.
You play around, you're gonna pay the
50 days
price.
in the county jail,
America's sick of the bullshit.
fines. Oh, and also,
We know that most groups get together
statutory
just
DNA
fine,
costs are ordered as
and
well.
that these things happen few and far between, and if
So you
they
have to fill
do,
out the
they're not
probation
properly
specifications.
documented. So I just have to
We'll
assume
get
that they're
somebody
not
to help you do
happening.
that, but we need to get that
Because
done
the only
in
thing we
statute.
see are the fake ones.
Anything else today? Yes.
Your Honor, if I may, in light of the notice of appeal, we would ask that you suspend your jail sentence in light of the
Do what?
in-statute filing of the notice of appeal.
Did I do what?
Suspend your jail sentence in light of the notice of filing of appeal.
That will be respectfully denied. Yes, Mark. Mr. Lewis.
I don't know if this is true or not, but it's pretty funny. Jussie Smolet would be forced to share a jail cell with his attacker. Jussie Smolet has been sentenced to 150 days in jail, 30 months felony probation, $120,000 restitution, $25,000 fine. I'm simply here to save the world. Nothing is more important than love. I only have Twitter. It's funny, he gets to keep his Instagram, though. They want to claim racism, and they're the ones that get away with fucking everything. Which is pretty funny if you think about it. I'm not going to deny that white people had the same thing going on before, but because it happened before, does that make it right now? I mean, some people would obviously agree with the statement because they think revenge is something useful, but love trumps hate, I guess. I guess revenge can be useful if it's a just fight, but obviously he's a liar, so it's not just. That's funny.
Chicago. So just
Oh. What the fuck did this do? Oh.
said, anyone who doubts his story is a bigot. Remember?
The biggity racy.
If I had said,
Gonna get Epstein in jail.
Maybe that night display today was an actual play
no, I
that
don't
he
think
does
he's going to
these
get
150 days
Epstein.
and
I
then sell the
actually,
psych ward.
I don't know whether to laugh
Raise
or
your
cry
fist.
at this, Tucker. I don't know if I can.
Ooh. Back black power sign. They think they come up with the thing. It's a communist fist, for fuck's sakes. What's this idiot? All it would have taken was apology 2 years ago. Well, I wish you weren't right, but it's probably right.
I'm not going to Disney, I just want to go to a movie. I'll never lie again, honest. Are you all right?
And it's a great concept that stuck with me ever since.
Yeah. Well, realistically, people could have got killed over that if someone, hard left or hard right, they've had enough of, one direction or the other. People could have got shot over that. What the fuck kind of white guy's going to be in Chicago at 3 a.m. when it's negative 20 outside, though? Like, are you fucking kidding? He screams in rage.
When I say what you didn't want to
fuck.
happen is you never wanted this case solved. You thought that somehow you'd be able to skate by and nobody would ever know what really happened here. and you're going to walk away from this, and it didn't go down like that at all, of course.
Heh.
So
And
they
the
solved
judge
the case.
is white. They're
What
gonna
happened?
say
Turns
we're
out
racist.
you're not a victim of a hate crime. You're not a victim of a racial hate crime. You're not a victim of homophobic hate crime. You're just a charlatan pretending to be a victim of a hate crime.
Ooh.
And that's shameful.
Basically called
Especially
him a
from
simp.
the family you got
basically a
brought up
simp.
with your family values. It's so sad. The damage you've done to yourself is way beyond anything else that can happen to you from me or any other judge that would be sentencing you in this criminal case. You are now a permanently convicted felon.
Oh,
Your
shit.
family who loves you and supports you, I don't even want to use the word forgive because forgiveness isn't even necessary. They're with you so much. They're so tight-knit, but you have to live with the fact that you really put them through a ringer. You've embarrassed your valuable friends in high places, the elected public officials, people in the media. You've embarrassed them. You have to live with that. I don't know if
judge
those
just giving it to
relationships can be repaired. You've become toxic in your own workplace. Your career future is uncertain at very best. It was really on a rocket ship to success, and now you've turned yourself into riches to rags, and it's so unfortunate. Your very name has become an adverb for lying, and I cannot imagine what could be worse than that. People
The
talk
judge
about
is hammering
situations where somebody's lying and trying to manipulate and maneuver a story, and your name comes up. There's
There's nothing like a
Jussie,
judge
something like that. That's
smackdown
awful.
because it's someone that's pretty
You're the butt of
sharp.
jokes.
Just giving it to you, telling
Comedians,
you you're basically a fucking lowlife.
Mainstream talk show hosts, they
And
make
you're
jokes
not wrong.
about you. They do sketches about you. I can't imagine anything worse than that. Now, this is all self-inflicted. These are things you did to yourself. This is self-damage. Well, some people may think that what you did is funny, and that there's some room for humor or jokes about it. But I assure you, this court does not. I don't think there is anything funny at all about hoaxing and faking racial hate crimes.
Ooh.
Hoaxing or faking homophobic hate crimes. I think that is disgraceful. There is
Yeah,
nothing
well,
funny about it. There's no
maybe
humor
this
in
would be
what
a
you did
lesson to the
whatsoever.
other,
all because you're
race
selfish,
baiters
arrogant,
like
narcissistic. At least you have
Bubba
that
Smolet.
side in you.
Remember both?
That came out through this case, and you kept doubling down and doubling down and doubling down. It's not funny. It's
Remember
not funny at all.
Bubba E. Smolet?
And I'm your sentencing judge, and I don't find it funny.
Talking shit about
So where are we at?
racist.
We're at the end. You are convicted of a Class 4 felony. It's presumptively probationable, but we have some real serious aggravating factors here. Your premeditation, which I've described. The pain you've caused to real victims of hate crimes, which I've described. The damage you've done to the city of Chicago, I've heard. It's been talked about. I'm mindful of the city's request for restitution, and if I'm going to fashion that, consider that request, I have to fashion the sentence accordingly. And above all, the capper of all cappers, your performance on the witness stand. This could only be described as pure perjury. You got on the witness stand. You didn't have to. You did. You certainly have a right to. But you committed hour upon hour upon hour of pure perjury. And I find all those to be ample factors. If this court were to decide that the things you did, that any kind of probationary sentence would deprecate the seriousness of the offense and you need to go to the penitentiary, the record is clear and it would support it. But I'm looking at everything in its totality. And I agree. It's told to me today, you can't judge everybody by one bad thing they've done in their life. I don't know if it's the only bad thing, but it's the only bad thing that I'm concerned about now. And that you do have quite a record of real community service and quite a record of attaching with people. There is a lot of mitigation in this case as well. And I'm mindful of the pleas of mercy, particularly from people that are in the arena of dealing with social justice issues, that are fighting, seriously fighting, not playing around, not doing games like you were doing, but seriously fighting for matters involving hate crimes of all sorts. And they're asking you for mercy as well. So I'm trying to consider who you are as a person, how you got here, how somehow you strayed away from your family values, You let that dark, narcissistic, selfish, and arrogant side come out. And you persisted with it for years on this case. I'm fashioning the following sentence, and here's your sentence. I'm sentencing you to 30 months felony probation, and the probation is going to be to this court. You're going to be allowed to travel wherever you want. You do not have to live in the state of Illinois. You can report by phone. I know that if you're going to try to make a living and do some of the things you do, you may have to go to other places, New York and Los Angeles. You can do those things. You will pay restitution to the city of Chicago in the amount of $120,106. You are fined $25,000, which is the maximum fine. And you will spend the first 150 days of your sentence in the Cook County Jail. And that will start today, right here, right now. Mr. Smolet, though the jury found you guilty and I've sentenced you as I have, you have the right to appeal the findings and rulings of the court or ask your sentence to be modified. To do those things, you need to file a notice of appeal in writing within 30 days. You may also file a motion to modify your sentence, which would have to be filed in writing within 30 days. Anything not stated in those filings are waived for purposes of appeal. You cannot afford lawyers or transcripts. They would be provided for your charge. Do you have any questions?
Oh shit, here it comes.
I would just like to say to Your Honor that I am not suicidal. That's what I would like to say.
Okay.
I am not suicidal.
Okay.
I am not suicidal. I am innocent, and I am not suicidal. If I did this, then it means that I stuck my fist in the fears of black Americans in this country for over 400 years and the fears of the LGBTQ community. Your Honor, I respect you and I respect the jury, but I did not do this. And I am not suicidal. And if anything happens to me when I go in there, I did not do it to myself. And you must all know that.
Yeah, but if he lied about the hate crime,
I respect your
what if
decision.
he's lying about that too? He's going to punch himself in the face, perhaps. Just
I am
little
not
fight
suicidal.
club, first rule.
Mr. Uche, let me inquire. Are there any post-sentencing motions you care to present right now?
Yes, Judge.
Yes, Ms. Widow.
The defense would wish to present a motion to reconsider sentence.
All right.
And file it in Stanter.
All right. It is timely filed.
Thank you, Judge.
And let me say, I've obviously considered the sentence at great length. It's timely filed, so it's preserved for purposes of appeal. Motion to reconsider
Lucky
sentence is
didn't go away
respectfully
for
denied.
10 years or something. Imagine
Is
if
there
I
another,
did something like that.
One second, Randy. Anything else?
Just some
a second,
fucking
just a second.
random, whatever.
Is there going to be a notice of appeal filed?
Yes, Judge.
Fuck, they'd throw me away forever, wouldn't they? You know it.
To the office.
You doing it in Stanter? And are you going to be handling the appeal?
Judge, as of now, yes.
Well, you have to commit to handling the appeal through the appellate court. Okay? All right. Notice of appeal may be filed. Charlotte, and now I need the prosecutors to work with Charlotte, the probation officer, to work out probation specifications with the conditions I've just explained. 150 days in the county jail, the restitution, the fines. Oh, and also statutory DNA and costs are ordered as well. That's statutory. So you have to fill out the probation specifications. And I'm going to get somebody to help you do that, but we need to get that done in Stanter. Anything else today? Yes.
Your Honor, if I may, in light of the notice of appeal, we would ask that you suspend the jail sentence in light of the
Do what?
filing of the notice of appeal.
Did I do what?
Suspend the jail sentence in light of the notice of filing of
No.
appeal.
That will be respectfully denied. Yes, Mark. Mr. Lewis.
If it can be stayed in light of our notice of appeal.
No. I'm not staying. No. The wheels of justice turn slowly, and sometimes the hammer of justice has to fall, and it's falling right here, right now. I'm not staying this.
The
This
hammer
happens right here, right now.
of justice. Hear that shit?
Charlotte?
That's power.
Yeah, I'll talk to you about it. I'll give you those details. Okay? All right. Any other matters to come before the court today? All right. Defendants remanded to the custody of sheriff. Court is adjourned. The wheels of justice turn slowly, and sometimes the hammer of justice has to fall. It's falling right here, right now. I'm not staying this. This happens right here, right now.
Justice. Hear that shit? Power. Fucking right. Check. Check. There. It's a little better. Judge slams Smolet for lying about this hoax. Smolet left the courtroom screaming, "I am not suicidal." We'll see. Yeah, that's basically what I'm saying. If it was any simp walking around the fucking street, you know it would have been like 10 years plus. That's awesome. Judge to Juicy Smolet. You're just a charlatan pretending to be a victim of a hate crime, and that's shameful. Well, at least someone's telling the fucking truth, right?